Hi Matthew, Alan Cockrell with ABC, hitting coordinator for the Arizona Diamondbacks. We're going to run through your video today, take a look at some things. I'm going to slow it down just a little bit. Okay, we're going to take a look at a few of the things that I look at my hitters with when we study video. Positions that we try to get into that's going to give us the opportunity to have the most consistent approach and most consistent swing to handle pitches in various locations. I take a look at your setup position here, and I like it. You're a comfortable, balanced setup position, and then we're going to take it into the load. I see a couple things in your load that I might want to talk to you about a little bit. We want to make sure that when we load, the hands go back. We don't want those hands to drop too much. We don't want them to get below shoulder height or anywhere near below the top of the strike zone, and your hands have a tendency to go down just a little bit, and that bat flattens out. That kind of creates the possibility of maybe sweeping the bat through. And then I just see one thing with your stride foot when you do take the hands back and the stride foot lands, we're a little bit too far open, and that causes that front hip to want to leak just a little bit. So we'll slow things down now. I'll talk you through everything. Now, I love your leg kick. This is a very good leg kick, and the thing that I see, and a lot of young kids don't do this. Whenever they have a leg kick, they load and they get all that weight on top of that back leg. But even though you leg kick, you manage to keep this knee inside this back foot. That's a very, very good thing that you do. If you get all the weight on top of that foot, we have or on top of that leg where that knee's over that foot, the tendency is to want to put the foot down, and we are either going to just sit on that back leg and just straight spin open from there, or when that stride foot lands, I'm going to have the tendency, because all my weight's on top of that leg, the tendency is to push up and push forward in the swing. But you do a very good job of keeping the weight on the inside part of your leg right there. That looks really, really good. Okay. Now, as your leg comes up, your hands come down just a little bit, and that's okay. But when the stride foot lands right there, we want to make sure that these hands have gone back up to shoulder height. Okay. We want to try to get those hands back up here in this position, okay? And then that bat angle is going to be somewhere in this area instead of flat and kind of behind the head, just a little bit of a wrap right there. Jose Canseco was very famous for having a lot of movement with his hands. He had that leg kick, and when he did, his hands would go down, but when his stride foot would land, his hands would be back up here, shoulder height right there, okay? Your separation is good, meaning your hands are back behind your back knee. That's good. I just want to make sure that those hands don't get too low, okay? Now, at this time, we look at different positions here, okay? I'm going to go all the way to foot down, all right? Now I'm looking to make sure that my guys have equal bend in both knees, okay? Pretty good bend in both knees. We want to make sure both of these knees are inside of our feet, okay? And that's just for good athletic balance, all right? The other thing that I look for is that the hips are square, okay? We can see here that your front hip is starting to leak open just a little bit too quickly. And that's gonna promote a swing that's gonna work. The hands and the barrel of the bat are gonna work around our body. It's gonna make it difficult to handle pitches on the outer half of the plate or any type of off-speed pitch, whether it's a breaking ball or a changeup. Our path is being dictated by this front hip opening up, so the hands are going to follow that path, and we're going to work in and out of the zone just a little bit too quickly. Okay. The other thing that we look at for the shoulders are square, and again, as I mentioned, we want these hands more up here in this position with the barrel of that bat with just a little bit of an angle, maybe a 45-degree angle. Okay. Now I'm going to erase, and we're going to go back to this back hip, or go back to this hip right here. This hip is starting to leak open, and one of the reasons that will cause this is this stride foot. When we put this stride foot down, and that stride foot opens anything open more than 45 degrees, the front hip starts to leak. Okay, and when the front hip leaks, that's going to affect our bat path. Okay, what it does basically is it causes the back side of the body. It causes it to work around the front leg. Okay, that back knee is going to work around that front leg, and then the hands are going to end up working around the torso of the body. Okay, so when we get to contact, we're not going to get the good full extension through contact. We're going to continue to work around and pull our hands and our bat across our body. So we'll just go forward and we'll just kind of see if all of that takes place. Okay, see your hands pulling across your body, and you actually have a little bit of recoil back into your back leg because you're trying to stay through, but we weren't in the position that we needed to be in with that front hip staying closed up underneath us so we can get to that ball and then get the extension. This is where we want the barrel to extend like this. All right, so we're going to go back. We're going to erase some lines. I'm going to go back to that loaded position, and what we want to do is when we set that foot down right there, here's where we want to be. We want these hands up here shoulder height right there. Okay, we want them right up here. We want to back over that back knee, which you have. We want this stride foot more in this area right here at a 45-degree angle as opposed to opened up to 50. That's going to keep your hip line looking like this instead of your hip line looking like that, where there's just a little bit of leak. Okay, the way we're going to work on this, Matthew, is we're going to set a T on the outside part of the plate, outside half, outside third. We're going to set it just off your stride foot, maybe just inside your stride foot. We're going to set it out there. We're going to put a ball on there. Okay. Now I want you to load. I want your hands to go back, and I want your stride foot to go down, and we're going to check and make sure that we got the good bend in both knees. Okay. We're going to make sure that these knees are working inside of our feet. Most importantly, we're going to make sure that our hips are square. Okay. We're going to make sure that this stride foot is no more open than 45. These hands have to be up here shoulder height. Now, from this position, we can drive this knee, and we can drive it to the inside part of this leg, and when it does, this elbow will drop underneath. We'll go forward to there. At this particular time, right here, we're going to have elbow and back hip. But our hands, as opposed to being back here dragging behind our body, they're going to be in line with that elbow and that back hip. That's the connection. And that's where this drive into this front leg, that's where that power, that energy gets passed off to the hands. Now from here, the hands can work forward. Here's our T right out here. Now we're going to have a direct path to be able to take our hands to this ball or take our barrel to this ball and extend that barrel so that the barrel stays contact and then extends all the way through. Okay, we won't have our hand path working across our body. We're going to get extension, and then we're going to get a nice full long finish with that bat like that. Okay, and Matthew, this is a drill that I use with a lot of professional hitters. Anytime we work in the cage, we're working on body position. We're working on feeling what the body is supposed to be doing. And most of the time, these guys are working on a T because we can set that T in the exact location that we want. And in this particular case, by spinning open, we're going to be vulnerable for that pitch on the outer half. And again, any type of off-speed or breaking pitch is going to be a problem pitch for us. So this is where we're going to set the T out here. We're going to work on staying on this ball and hitting through this ball with good extension. In a cage, this is going to be a ball that we'll hit through the right side. If we're hitting this ball and we're coming around it, casting our hands out and around, dragging our barrel out and around, we're going to hit ground balls on the left side. If our hands are dragging and that barrel is dropping, we're going to hit balls to the top of the cage. And really what we want to do is we want hard, solid line drives into the right side of the cage where we feel at the end of our swing right here. Once we get all the way through our swing, we're going to get good extension, and we're going to be able to hold that swing and hold that finish under balance, but get that result that I want, driving a hard line drive to the right side of the cage. Okay, bud? This is a drill. I'm confident it's going to help you out. And really just want to wish you the best of luck, and thanks for coming to our camp.